First up, let's talk about what is going to be happening at the Coronation next weekend, because we're heading into a bank holiday weekend tomorrow, and another bank holiday the weekend after for the Coronation. But who is on that guest list? Well, a lot of people seem to be up in arms about the invitation guest list, partly because it includes the Chinese Vice President, Han Zheng. He's going to represent Xi Jinping for Beijing. He, though, is the architect of the Chinese crackdown on pro-democracy protests in Hong Kong a few years back. Also, the Sinn Féin leader, Michelle O'Neill, comes from a prominent family supporter of the IRA. Well, the Queen's bridesmaid, though, at her wedding, Lady Pamela Hicks, who was the daughter of Lord Mountbatten, murdered by the IRA, is not on the guest list. So, right or wrong? Let's talk about this with Angela Levin, who's a royal biographer. Good morning to you, Angela.
Good morning.
Yeah, I think none of us is surprised that you... Well, I think you might have made it onto the guest list. Me, definitely not. But can we talk about this guest list? I mean, at the end of the day, this is a state occasion. And these state occasions, including actually with the Queen's funeral as well, they are very much about, there's protocol, but there's also, we use these for diplomatic ends as well, in terms of who gets invited, who doesn't. It is perfectly appropriate, is it not, that the Chinese president should be invited? He's not coming. He's sending his vice president. Now, whether we like this guy or not, and I'm quite sure I would absolutely hate this man. I hate everything he stands for, as I feel about Xi Jinping as well. But it's a state occasion, and the king doesn't really get to choose who's the vice president of China.
Absolutely, I agree with you totally. And we need to remember too that the late Queen Elizabeth invited the Chinese president to come for a long weekend in Windsor. Now, you could say the same thing for her. It was very difficult for her, actually, because I heard that she hid behind a bush at one point because she didn't want to talk to him anymore.
I'm not surprised. I mean, he's literally a murderer. He's a murderous, torturing dictator. I mean, but tough.
The idea is that you've got to keep in contact. You don't want to upset anyone.
Yeah.
It's one chair in a place which could help. You never know. And I think this is a time to be positive about that. The same with the Sinn Féin leader, that she was thrilled to come. So although she might be a Republican, she wants to be there. And I think that therefore it's a very good idea. It just helps without having a conversation, without sitting down and discussing anything, without getting political. You're inviting them to be polite. And because it's a stated event, that excuses all these things.
Well, indeed, but also, I mean, when you talk to Michelle O'Neill, she's the leader of Sinn Féin. She's the leader of a Democratic Party in Northern Ireland. She's the leader of the largest party in the last elections. She would be First Minister of Northern Ireland if Stormont was sitting. Of course she's going to be invited. But also, why would the Queen's bridesmaid, Lady Pamela Hicks, be invited to a state occasion? This isn't a family funeral like when the Queen's funeral. This is a big state occasion, thousands of people attending. I mean, there are two...
To give her credit, she said that she doesn't mind at all. She's very happy not to be. So she's not upset.
No, exactly. This is rather confected. I mean, this is rather confected, offence, isn't it? Because again, this is just how international diplomacy works. Yes. Or national diplomacy works.
Yes, a lot of these things of trying to get round terrible barricades of you can't get through to a country is to actually get someone to befriend them. And then you can talk. Otherwise, you can't talk at all. You can't discuss these things. So it's very important that you stay in touch. And this is the lightest possible way of staying in touch. They're not going to discuss anything. No. They're not going to try and argue. It's just there you are sitting there watching an incredible spectacle, which I think the Chinese like very much.
Well, absolutely. I mean, again, we're going to keep the lines of communication open. That's a good idea, isn't it? And let me talk to you also about some interesting polling. Almost 3/4 of people in Scotland, according to a latest poll, have little or no interest in the King's coronation. 41% of Scots said they didn't care at all about the event. 31% said they did not care very much. Scotland, we know, is less favourable towards the royal family. Only half of respondents thought that Britain should continue with the monarchy. You and I have discussed these, Not My King demonstrations that are being planned and have already been taking place towards King Charles for the coronation on the 6th of May. Is there a concern from people you speak speak to at Buckingham Palace that actually, you know, support for the monarchy, so much of that was rested on, and I know it's still a majority in the country as a whole, but so much of that was rested in this love and respect and deference towards the Queen and gratitude to her for the great job she did for so many years, but that King Charles just doesn't quite garner the same affection.
Well, I don't believe that, actually. I spent a year with the then Prince Charles in the run-up to his 70th birthday. He's got affection all over the place. I think it's just people being, you know, grandiose, really, which is a sort of strange word to use. But I think that a lot of these people who don't believe in it and don't want the monarchy will be watching it on television.
Oh, yes.
I guarantee that.
I'll be watching it. I'll be watching it here on TalkTV.
You need to for your job, don't you? So that's slightly different.
I mean, I might have a drink in my hand. What time of day is it?
It's 11. It starts at 11.
I'll still have a drink in my hand. It's a bank holiday. Angela Levin. I'll pop round to yours. We live round the corner from each. I'll pop round. Angela Levin, Royal Biographer. Thank you very much indeed.